gang, 2-minute drill here. We'll call this one the little man. And no, it's not me. Although my daughter might argue that a bit. So the little man. I remember hearing Napoleon Hill. Well, I didn't hear him. I was reading him in a book called Think and Grow Rich, where he talked about this idea and introduced me to Earl Nightingale. And Earl Nightingale is a guy that recorded, many of you have heard of him, recorded one of the most successful, well-known motivational recordings in history called The Strangest Secret, which really isn't all that strange at all. The secret is we become what we think about most of the time, which is true. But he talked about this idea of the little man, which is sort of driven by this idea of what we think about. It's amazing how our thought patterns tend to guide our actions of the day. In other words, what is the screensaver that you have in your mind? Because that screensaver is ultimately guiding where you're going, what you're doing, what you're observing, what you're aware of. That's why a lot of times they say affirmations can be powerful. When you talk about what you want in the positive personal present tense, you say it so often, you speak it so often, you begin to alert your subconscious mind to be aware of opportunities that support those statements. It's powerful. The little man. The little man's got a lot of control over our lives. What are we hearing when we're not talking? What tapes are rolling on our head when we're not thinking about it? What's the screensaver? When we walk away from the conscious thought in our mind, what tape is the subconscious playing? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it talking about how much money we have, how much money we don't have? Is it talking about the time we have or the time we don't have? Is it talking about the great marriage we have or the difficult conversations we're about to have with our spouse? The little man. A lot of power in that little man. I encourage you, get control of the little man. Make sure the little man's going the direction you want him to go. Because ultimately, that little man, you really do have control.